Thousands of years ago, cave-dwelling humans huddled in fear around their fires, not knowing what deadly animal lurked in the darkness. To our most ancient of ancestors, animals were things to eat, or things that ate man. Thousands of years ago, this law was broken when the first wolf was tamed, and over the generations became the dog, man's best friend, and the first animal that humans domesticated. Since then, man has bred dogs for various needs, creating thousands of breeds, big and small. War, disaster, or simply fashion has seen some of these dog breeds fall out of favor and into oblivion, and in the video today, the top 10 dogs who either were saved from extinction or should be brought back into being. Number 10. Belgian War Dogs. When the great empires of Europe sent their armies into action, the smaller nations huddled in fear, hoping their neutrality would protect them. One of these countries was Belgium, whose army was focused on suppressing its colonial subjects, not stopping the armies of some of the world's most powerful empires. Even though it tried to stay out of the war, this tiny nation was dragged into the bloody conflict when Germany used it as a backdoor into France. Belgium's army heroically stood up to the might of the Prussian Empire, and while the Belgians were crushed, they slowed the Germans enough to allow France enough time to mobilize its men and meet and push back the crowds. The Belgian army was able to clash with the Germans with mobility provided by their unique pack animals, the Belgian Mastiff. These dogs hauled machine guns and war supplies to and from the front lines, allowing the Belgian army to serve its purpose as the road bump to the Germans. After the war, trucks and tanks made the dogs obsolete, and they almost became extinct. A small group kept the breed alive, and now they're making a bit of a comeback. Number 9. Peruvian Punk Dogs. The Inca Empire, based on the west coast of South America, was one of the most powerful civilizations in the pre-contact Americas. In the annals of history, it was an unusual society. It didn't have draft animals for tilling of farmlands, but it had llamas and alpacas for carrying goods. They didn't have a system of writing, but rather used a system of tying knots to record information. They lacked the knowledge of iron and steel, but their mastery of stonework still leaves modern stoneworkers in awe. Their culture also didn't have money and instead depended on a system of labor that each person owed to the empire. Yet the Inca civilization grew and thrived, and only New World diseases and the invasion of the Spanish conquistadors brought it down. Before the European contact, the Inca people had a special type of hairless dog that they used for hunting and companionship. The medium-sized dog has almost no hair and has a long history in Inca art, and mummified pets are even found during archaeological investigations. When the new Spanish rulers and their Christian missionaries took the reins of power, they quickly went to work, methodically wiping out the Incan culture under the guise of converting pagans to Christ. Part of that effort was the elimination and demonization of the Incan dogs. The breed was left on the fringes of society, often hunted for food or for its pelt. As Peru entered the 21st century, the country realized how special their dogs were, and an effort was launched to save the breed. The government decreed that all Incan temples should have at least one of these native dogs. Their survival was also helped by the rebranding of the breed as punk. As a result of these efforts, the Incan dog's outlook looks good. Number 8. Molossus. The legendary Molossus dog breed belonged to the ancient Greek kingdom of the Molossians. Its hunting ability and size were greatly admired by dozens of ancient historians. The Molossians treasured their dogs so much that they pressed the canine's image on their coins. The Romans crushed the Molossian kingdom in the Third Macedonian War of 168 BC. A huge hunting and shepherd dog of southern Europe that could reach upwards of 200 pounds, the breed spawned a few of Europe's large dog breeds, but itself became extinct. Now a number of breeders are trying to bring it back. One breeder, Jared Hauser of Salt Lake City, Utah, claims to have reborn the Molossus pedigree when he discovered his 9-month-old puppy named Euphrates, which was an enormous 180 pounds and 6 feet tall. Hauser said Euphrates represented the American Molossus, a first litter, and it is the closest genetic descendant of the Mesopotamian Molossus. Number 7. Skye. Skye Terriers are a dog breed from the Isle of Skye in Britain. A very regal-looking dog, they were once popular among royalty. One famously hid under the dress of Queen Mary of Scots as her head was cut off on the orders of Queen Elizabeth I of England. In recent decades, the breed fell out of favour, and the Telegraph newspaper declared in 2006 that it was the United Kingdom's most endangered dog breed. In 2005, only 30 dogs of the Skye pedigree were born, and only a few dozen are bred every year. If more owners can be found willing to deal with this high-maintenance dog, it can be rescued from the danger of becoming extinct. Number 6. Salish Wolldog. Disease, war, and forcible assimilation into the settler way of life have almost destroyed not only the indigenous people themselves, but also almost destroyed their soul and culture. In Canada, most of the indigenous people call themselves the First Nations. Among Canada's West Coast First Nations, blanket weaving using mountain goat wool and dog hair is an important part of their culture. The Cowichan First Nations even developed a sweater, the Cowichan sweater, that would reach iconic status when the dude wore one in the movie The Big Lebowski. A key part of this weaving culture was the Salish wool dog. Native only to the Canadian West Coast, the Salish wool dog is the only known prehistoric North American dog developed for animal husbandry. It was through its hair that the local First Nation people were able to create beautiful blankets and clothing. Disaster struck with European contact, though. First came cheap sheep wool and various other foreign dog breeds. Along with these new goods came diseases decimating the West Coast First Nations. Barely able to survive themselves, the Salish people's dog, now with no economic use and displaced by European breeds, went extinct. Although the dog breed no longer exists, there are still samples of its hair. The Burke Museum of Natural History and Culture in Seattle, Washington has one surviving blanket made from primarily dog hair. Also, the Smithsonian has a dogskin pelt. As DNA technology advances, hopefully one day these samples can be used to create a clone and revive the breed. Number 5. Japanese dogs. In Japan, space is premium and cuteness is treasured. This does not bode well for the local Japanese dog breeds. Japan has 6 native dog species: the Shiba, Akita, Kai, Kishu, Shikuku, and the Hokkaido. Historically, these dogs are large breeds from the mountains of northern Japan. There they lived in wide open spaces with lots of room to run and exercise. They are ill-suited to the urban lifestyles of the modern Japanese family, which is often too busy at work or school to walk a dog. More and more, the large Japanese dog breeds are being ignored, and instead foreign pocket imported breeds are being used. Promotional campaigns have been launched to get more people to choose patriotically, but some breeds, like the Kishu, are so rare that a Japanese zoo added 2 Kishu dogs alongside the zoo's regular exotic animals. Number 4. Curly-coated retriever. Retrievers are famous for their long, straight hair. Hard to find in America. In the UK, there is a little-known curly-coated retriever breed. The unfamiliar might accuse the dog of being a poodle mix, but when the breed was developed in the UK, there were no poodles in Britain. Also, poodles shed their curly hair, and the curly-coated retriever does not. The curly matte hair was much sought after, as the more straight-haired retriever breeds had a shiny coat that reflected moonlight. With its stealth hair camouflage, this dog had a reputation as an outlaw dog, and they were famously preferred by poachers as hunting dogs. Loyal, devoted owners now struggle to keep the breeding population from falling into a danger zone of too few breeding pairs. Number 3. Turnspit dog. Terriers were bred to hunt vermin like rats, and the Dachshund was bred to invade and flush out anything living in small tunnels. The Turnspit dog was developed for kitchen work. The Turnspit dog was a short-legged dog breed brought into existence to serve a purpose much like the dinosaurs in Fred Flintstone's universe. Like Fred Flintstone's dinosaurs that washed dishes or played a record, the Turnspit's purpose was to turn a wheel, which in turn spun a stick of meat over a fire. For much of our history, everything had to be done by hand. The Industrial Age changed this with the invention of machines and gadgets that made life easier. Machinery also made things like the Turnspit dog obsolete. A rich household would have servants to do this job, but poorer households would depend on these dogs. Since it represented low social status, the breed didn't survive when the machinery replaced it. The dog was bred to be happy indoors, comfortable with noise, and hardwired so that it was happy to run on a wheel for long periods of time. This dog would have been ideal in the modern age. No backyard? Well, no problem. The Turnspit hates the outside. No time to take a dog for walks? Well, just release it in the exercise wheel. Power out? Well, let your dog power your devices by making its exercise wheel your power generator. Number 2. Dire Wolf. The Game of Thrones books and HBO TV show have been cultural touchstones. Children with names from the show are becoming more and more common. Across all aspects of our media are references to Game of Thrones. The iconic animals of House Stark, the direwolf, are also in demand. Direwolves are actually real animals that once roamed the Americas, but the wolf with a scientific name, Canis dirus, went extinct about 10,000 years ago. Louis Schwartz of the Direwolf Project hopes to bring the breed back and make direwolves great again. In the Schwartz Kennels in White City, Oregon, Schwartz is breeding the American Alsatian to be a large, long-lived companion dog with a wolf-like appearance, aka a dire wolf. Surprisingly, Schwartz has been able to hardwire a calm, mellow, distinctly unwolf-like attitude into the dogs, making them perfect as emotional support pets, although their price tag of $3,000 might stress you out a bit. Number 1. Red wolves. Like many apex predators who called the continental United States home, the various wolf species were hunted almost to extinction. Like their direwolf cousins did thousands of years ago, the red wolves of the south and southeastern United States, including Texas, Florida, and West Virginia, went extinct in the 1980s, or so it was thought. Field biologist Ron Wooten noted that the feral dogs of Galveston Island, Texas, had similar features as the red wolf. Based on this hunch, he sent in DNA samples, and they confirmed that the dogs had red wolf DNA. At some point in the recent past, a feral dog pack in Galveston Island bred with the red wolf species. While the red wolves have died off in the wild, the red wolf DNA lives on in these wild packs of dogs. Now scientists are hoping the Galveston dogs could be used as a sort of time capsule or DNA reservoir to restore lost aspects of the red wolf's genetic history. So I really hope you found that video interesting. If you did, please do hit that thumbs up button below. Don't forget to subscribe. Also, why not check out another channel I do called Biographics? It's a biography channel. Obviously, it's linked to below. And thank you for watching.